أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال علي عليه السلام لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما على جلوسنا ذات الكساء من فضل الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا ذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمل من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وهفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذن والله فضنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني برسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا ذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمل من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وأخذ الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذن والله فضنا وسعدنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد وآله. اللهم إني أسألك باسمك العظيم الأعظم العز الأجل الأكرم بحق محمد أنت المحمود بحق علي أنت الأعلى بحق فاطمة الزهراء أنت فاطر السماوات والأرض. اللهم بحق الحسن أنت المحسن. اللهم بحق الحسين أنت قديم الإحسان يا قاضي الحاجات اقض حاجات المؤمنين والمؤمنات يا شافي الأمراض اشف مرضانا المؤمنين والمؤمنات واشفيني. اللهم اشف مريضة المخصوصة يا رازق زيادة في الرزق بركة في الرزق صحة في الجسم توبة قبل الموت مغفرة بعد الموت نجاة من النار دخولا في الجنة عافية في الدنيا والآخرة إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد وآله. رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات خصوصا sponsor of the tonight. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. اللهم بك سيد الساجدين مغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم يحفظ آغا موسوي فاضل موسوي يا الله يحفظ آتيه العافية صحة والعافية وعوده بالسلامة. اللهم اقبل إنك أنت سميع الدعاء يا الله. يحفظ المؤمنين نهاية العالم بارجنار غزة لبنان إيران عراق شام. اللهم يحفظ من المسلمين المؤمنين المؤمنات من أيدي اليهود. اللهم دافع عنهم. اللهم بحق محمد وآل محمد ارحمنا إنك أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम। आमीन आमीन या रब्बल आलमीन। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। आ जाओ बेटा।
सलवात। आप सबको इमाम सज्जाद की विलादत मुबारक हो। सलवात। मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा दिल सजाद में है घर मेरा। रब को बंदे से मिला देना हुनर है मेरा। मोजज़ा की तरह लफ्ज़ों में असर है मेरा। नूर देता हुआ हर ज़ेरो ज़बर है मेरा। जान ले वो जो मुझे आज नहीं जानते हैं, जान ले वो जो मुझे आज नहीं जानते हैं। अहले दिल मुझको एक नाम से पहचानते हैं। मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ। आसमानों की किताबों का मज़ा है मुझ में। हर फसाहत और बलागत की अदा है मुझ में। एक एक लफ्ज़ जवाहर सा जड़ा है मुझ में। पढ़ के देखो पढ़ के देखो तो मरीजों की शिफा है मुझ में। रंग ऐसा है कि तंजील नजर आती हूँ, रंग ऐसा है कि तंजील नजर आती हूँ। कभी कुरान कभी इंजील नजर आती हूँ। मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ। लेके आ जाओ गमो दर्द तारुफ अपना। फिर से एक बार करा दूँ मैं तारुफ अपना। मर्तबा देखो तो नज़दीक खुदा उफ अपना। अब करती हूँ मैं हर एक पिता उफ अपना। दहाने मासूम का मासूम सुखन कहते हैं, दहने मासूम का मासूम सुखन कहते हैं। अहले ईमान मुझे कुरान की बहन कहते हैं। मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ। मुफलिसों और यतीमों की तरफदार हूँ मैं, गमज़दों के लिए कि मौन ज़ुख़्म ख़ार हूँ मैं, जिसका कोई नहीं उसके भी मददगार हूँ मैं, मोमिनों के लिए कि आहनी हथियार हूँ मैं, आसमानों का जिगर चीर के भर जाते हूँ, आसमानों का जिगर चीर के भर जाते हूँ, मिसले एक तीर के मंजिल पे पहुँच जाती हूँ। मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ। हर इबादत से बड़ी देख इबादत मैं हूँ, गर समझ जाओ तो एक रमज़ मशीयत मैं हूँ, अंबिया औलिया मोमिन की ज़रूरत मैं हूँ, देखो सज्जाद के होठों की भी ज़ीनत मैं हूँ, ग़ैब के पर्दों को आँखों से हटा देती हूँ, ग़ैब के पर्दों को आँखों से हटा देती हूँ, अपने अल्लाह से बंदों को मिला देती हूँ। मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, 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 मैं सहीफ़ा दिल सज्जाद में है घर मेरा, मैं सहीफ़ा दिल सज्जाद में है घर मेरा, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ, मैं सहीफ़ा हूँ। सलवात।
Qasim, call Yahya if he wants to recite. He wanted to recite. Bring him in. He was a. Alayhi salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad Maula Muhammad wajjal faraj. हर करम की इंतहा सजाद है, हर करम की इंतहा सजाद है, हर करम की इंतहा सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। मुश्किलों में मैं घिरूंगा किस लिए, मुश्किलों में मैं घिरूंगा किस लिए, जबकि मेरा आसरा सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। आबिदों के चेहरों से झलकती है, आबिदों के चेहरों से
छलकती है, नूर की तेरी ज़िया सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। अश्क मजलिस में बहा के ये कहा, अश्क मजलिस में बहा के ये कहा, सुन रहा तेरी दुआ सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। जब किया मोमिन ने है जिक्रे हुसैन, जब किया मोमिन ने है जिक्रे हुसैन, सबसे पहले, हाँ सबसे पहले आ गया सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। मायूसी जब घेरती है, मायूसी जब घेरती है आ कभी, मायूसी जब घेरती है आ कभी, मुझको देता, हाँ मुझको देता हौसला सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। क्यों भला महशर का मुझको खौफ हो, क्यों भला महशर का मुझको खौफ हो, दिल में जब तेरी विला सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। गुफ्तगू है मौला की मिसले नबी, गुफ्तगू है मौला की मिसले नबी, और अली सा, हाँ और अली सा लापता सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। जब लहद में आके मैं मग़मूम हुआ, जब लहद में आके मैं मग़मूम हुआ, टाल दी, हाँ टाल दी तूने बला सजाद ने, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है, हर करम की इंतहा सजाद है, हर दुआ में वास्ता सजाद है। दुरूद पढ़ने बाबा। More. वो नहीं आ रहा, मैंने बोला है उसको। दीन अहमद के पास सजाद, दीन अहमद के पास सजाद मकसद शह के राज़दां सजाद तेरे नक्शे कदम को हसरत से तेरे नक्शे कदम को हसरत से तकता रहता है आसमां सजाद दीन अहमद के पास सजाद जितनी मद है हुसैन करता हूँ जितनी मद है हुसैन करता हूँ उतने होते हैं मेहरबान सजाद दीन अहमद के पास सजाद आके इस जश्न में हुआ एहसास आके इस जश्न में हुआ एहसास जैसे मौजूद है यहाँ सजाद दीन अहमद के पास सजाद डूब जाता सफीनाए इस्लाम डूब जाता सफीनाए इस्लाम गर न बन जाते बादबां सजाद गर न बन जाते बादबां सजाद दीन अहमद के पास सजाद मकसद शह के राज़दां सजाद दुरूद पढ़ लें अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद मौला मुहम्मद
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوصي نعمه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون، الذي لا يدركه بهد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن، الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود، فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالسخر ميدان عرض. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعن على أدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واركعوا مع الراكعين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tonight we're celebrating the Wiladat of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. And this individual who is known for his patience and revered for his piety and worship. An individual like this has not appeared except from within the family of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This individual has not appeared in any other house. When it comes to Imam Zainul Abidin, we see that one of his alqab is Zainul Abidin. Zainul Abidin means what? The ornament of the worshippers. Another laqab of his, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, another title of his is Sayyidul Sajidin, the master of those individuals that prostrate, the master of those individuals that do sajda. The name of Imam Zainul Abidin is Ali. It's Ali. But the alqab, you see that these alqab, the imams, they have specific alqab. And an individual, he comes to the imam himself and he asks him, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, can you tell me who the imams are? Who those individuals are whose ita'at has been wajib, whose ita'at is wajib? Imam Zainul Abidin, he tells his companion, and he starts from Amir al-Mu'minin, he says that the first individual whose ita'at was wajib was Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. After him, it was his son, Imam Hassan alayhi salam. After him, it was Imam Hassan alayhi salam's brother, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. After him, ita'at has been wajib for me, meaning that it's wajib for the whole universe to do my ita'at. When he says this, then Imam Zainul Abidin, he stays quiet. When he stays quiet, the companion, he asks Imam Zainul Abidin, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, the narrations, they say that there are 12. Can you give me the names of all of them? Who is it supposed to be after you? That's when the Imam, he says, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah. That's when the Imam, he says that after me, it's supposed to be my son, Muhammad. After me, it's supposed to be my son, Muhammad. That title of Baqir, he says that title of Baqir, you can find that title of Baqir in the Torah. In Torah, that title of Baqir has been used and it's regarding my son, Muhammad al-Baqir. After him, Imam, he puts his head down. And the companion goes, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, who is it supposed to be after him? After him, it's his son Ja'far who's been given that title of Sadiq. That's when the companion, he asked the Imam, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, why has he been given that title of Sadiq? Why has he been given that title of the truthful? All of you are truthful, all of you are Sadiqeen. Is that not true? He goes, yes, that's true. That's absolutely true. But he's been given that title, laqab of Sadiq. Why? Because there's going to appear in his line, down the line, another individual by the name of Ja'far. Another individual. Imam Zainul Abidin is saying there's going to appear in his line another individual by the name of Ja'far, and he's going to claim for himself, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, he's going to claim for himself what was not rightfully his. What was not rightfully his. And that individual is going to be also named Ja'far. But in the heavens, he's known as Ja'far al-Kazzab. This narration is coming from Imam Zainul Abidin. He says that the Holy Prophet had said this. The Holy Prophet had named all of them. And this is when he described That individual who's going to come later on in the line of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he's also going to be named he's also going to be named Jafar, but he's going to have the laqab of Kazzab. Why? Because he's going to claim what is not rightfully his. Imam, the narration, it says that the Imam, he starts to cry. When he starts to cry, the companion asks him, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, why is it that you're crying? He goes, because of what Jafar al-Kazzab is going to do. Because of what he's going to do. Ya Ibn Rasulullah, what is he going to do? Not only is he going to claim imamat for himself, but he's going, whatever his father tells him to do, he's not going to act on his father's will. He's not going to act on his father's will. He's going to be jealous of his brother. And because of that jealousy, he's going to claim imamat. And he's not even going to know that the 11th imam, his brother, the 11th imam, he had a son. And he's going to claim to be the imam. And not just that, but he's going to try and take control of everything that his father had and everything that his brother had, not knowing that his brother has a son. I'm crying because of what he's going to do. I'm crying why? Because he's going to be in cahoots with the Abbasi Khalifa. And he's going to tell the Abbasi Khalifa about what everything Imam Hassan Askari is doing. Everything Imam Hassan Askari is doing. And you see, that's exactly what happened. Jafar al-Kazzab, he was telling the Khalifas about everything that was happening in that household. Yes, some of the ulama, they've written a book. They've written books that say that, he repented by the end of his life. He repented by the end of his life. Even if he did, that title of Kazzab has stuck with him. Even if he repented, that title of Kazzab has stuck with him. And it will stay with him until the Day of Judgment. What does this tell you about our actions? What does it tell you? If a certain title sticks with us, meaning what? Let's say we lie one time. Kazzab is not just lying one time. Kazib is lying, just a liar. Kazib is a liar. Kazzab is in the superlative form, meaning someone who habitually lies. Someone who habitually lies. What does this tell you when he's not named Jafar al-Kazib, but Jafar al-Kazzab? That he was a habitual liar, one. Or two, whatever he was lying about was so great that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him that title of Kazzab. Meaning what? Meaning that lying about being the Imam, lying about being the rightful Imam in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is such a disgrace that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named him Kazzab. Named him Kazzab. So what would you say about the first who claimed to be Khalifa? What would you say about the second who claimed to be Khalifa? The third who claimed to be Khalifa? When someone in the line, when someone in the line of the Holy Prophet, who claims to be Imam, wrongfully, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls him Kazzab. Someone who's not even in the line of the Holy Prophet, he claims to be Khalifa. He claims to be Imam. What have you named them? You look at the Muslims. What do they call the first three? Everyone knows. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be razi with them. Correct? What have they called them? The first, Abu Bakr as Siddiq. Siddiq. They've given him the title of Siddiq. He's stolen Khilafat, he's stolen Imamat, and they've given him the title of Siddiq. Here, a person in the line of the Holy Prophet has stolen Imamat, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala names him Kazzab. Here is Kazzab who's stolen Imamat. Here is Siddiq who's also stolen Imamat. How does this work? Imam Zain al-Abidin, he's crying, and he's talking about someone in his line later down the line who's going to do this. But when it comes to this Imam, what's sad is that we think that Imam Zain al-Abidin, he was sick throughout the journey in Karbala. He wasn't sick throughout that whole time. He wasn't ill throughout that whole time. The problem is that we don't know what he did, or we haven't read about what he did when he got to Kufa, when he got to Sham, when he came back to Medina. You tell me, how long did it take for the caravan of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein al-Islam to go from Karbala to Kufa? How long did it take? Do you all know? 10th of Muharram, Shahadat of Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam. The narration state that by the 11th of Muharram, they had already left. When they left by the 11th of Muharram, by the 13th, the Soyum of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, Imam Zain al-Abidin is already in Kufa and he's come back to bury Imam Hussain alayhi salam. The narrations, that's what the narrations state. So it took them one day. And anyone that's gone to Karbala, they know how long it takes, correct? That journey that takes us 3 days to do by walking. The enemies of the Ahlul Bayt made the Ahlul Bayt do that journey in a day and a half. Just remember that. But Imam Zain al-Abidin, he's back by Soyum. That's 2-3 days, correct? How long were they in Kufa? At the very least, 2 weeks. Do you think Imam Zain al-Abidin was sick that whole time? From Kufa, they go to Sham. Add on another 2 weeks. 4 weeks. Imam Zain al-Abidin was sick for 4 weeks, ill for 4 weeks. In Sham, they were there also. Some narrations, they say that they were there for almost a year. Imam Zain al-Abidin was sick that whole time period too. The thing with this is we understood Imam Zain al-Abidin, or we think that Imam Zain al-Abidin was ill during his lifetime. No, he wasn't ill during his lifetime. He wasn't ill. The reason that he was ill when the battle of Karbala was happening, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted that to happen to save the next Imam. Why? Because in Arab culture, 2 things, even at that time, 2 things was frowned upon. 1, striking and killing women and children. Women, especially women. 2, attacking the ill. Even today, no one is going to attack someone that is ill. That was Imam Zain al-Abidin there. But when it came to Imam Zain al-Abidin, you see that when he comes back to Medina, he's not quiet. When he was in Kufa, he wasn't quiet. When he was in Sham, he wasn't quiet. When he came back to Medina, he wasn't quiet. But many of us, we think that Imam Zain al-Abidin, all he did was he stayed quiet and he did du'as. Yes, he did do du'as. And when you read Sayf-e Sajjadiyya, the best du'as about how an individual should speak with his Lord are in that book, Sayf-e Sajjadiyya. That's why Christians that have read that book, Jews that have read that book, they call it what? The second Zabur. The second Zabur. Zabur itself was a book of du'as. When it came to Hazrat Dawood and Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam, that was how they did du'a to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They call this the second Zabur. The second Zabur. What does that mean if you understand what that means? Zabur is what? Zabur is a book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Quran, for example, the Quran is a book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a revealed book. Zabur is also a revealed book. Torah is also a revealed book. Injil is also a revealed book. The Quran is also a revealed book. What does it tell you about Imam Zain al-Abidin's du'as? When human beings say that this looks like a revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're comparing the du'as of Imam Zain al-Abidin to revelations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does it tell you about the du'as of Imam Zain al-Abidin? That when human beings look at it, they see as if it's a revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, when he comes back to Medina, there are a lot of incidents that happen regarding Karbala, for example. Not just Karbala. Shias at that time, they didn't know who the Imam was. There were Shias that were following, for example, Muhammad Hanafiya. And this is where a lot of the miracles of Imam Zain al-Abidin also occur. Sayyid Hashim Bahrani's Madinatul Ma'ajiz, please, that book is in Urdu. That book is in English. That book is in Arabic. That book is in Farsi. Whatever one of these languages you understand and read, download the book and read it. You'll see these miracles of the Imams. Imam Zain al-Abidin, he's come back to Medina. Shias, because when the whole caravan of Abu Abdullah Hussain left, the eldest from Banu Hashim, for example, from the family of Amir al-Mu'mineen was who? In Medina? Muhammad Hanafiya. Muhammad Hanafiya, he was left back. When he was left back, people started taking Muhammad Hanafiya to be Imam. People started taking Muhammad Hanafiya to be Imam. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, when he comes back to Medina from Sham, people are confused. Shias, Imam, this is Imam Zain al-Abidin. Here, and now there are Shias that have taken Muhammad Hanafiya as Imam. Imam Zain al-Abidin, he knows that Muhammad Hanafiya did not claim Imamat. He didn't claim Imamat. But the Shias claim that he's Imam. They forcefully claim that he's the Imam. Muhammad Hanafiya, he asked Imam Zain al-Abidin, "Oh my nephew, tell me, what should we do? How should we decide who the Imam is? How should we decide who the Imam is?" Imam Zain al-Abidin, he tells Muhammad Hanafiya, "Oh my uncle, Hajj season, we'll go to Hajj." He goes, "Okay, what will we do? We'll have Hajar al-Aswad decide who the rightful Imam is. We'll have Hajar al-Aswad decide who the rightful Imam is." Look at the month Imam Zain al-Abidin chooses. It's what month? Hajj. Why has he chosen Hajj? Because that's the time when the greatest number of Muslims gather in one place. When the greatest number of Muslims, they gather in one place. And what has Imam Zain al-Abidin said? The thing that's going to decide, or what's going to decide who the rightful Imam is, Hajar al-Aswad. Why has he said Hajar al-Aswad? Why has he said Hajar al-Aswad? Because if he was to say any human's name, it could be possible that that human lies, and one of these individuals, of the people that believe in Muhammad Hanafiya, not believe that individual. The reason he chose Hajar al-Aswad is why? Because a lot of people, they think that Hajar al-Aswad is just a rock. It's just a rock. Even in the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Muslims' second Khalifa, he goes to Hajar al-Aswad and he tells Hajar al-Aswad that, "I know you can't hear me. I know you have no powers. The only reason I touch you and kiss you is because the Holy Prophet has done this. That's the only reason." Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was there, he hears him. And he tells him, "Why don't you stay quiet? You don't know? This Hajar al-Aswad, it does hear. It does see. On the day of judgment, this Hajar al-Aswad will also testify. Will also testify." Imam Zain al-Abidin chose Hajar al-Aswad. Why? Because if Hajar al-Aswad, which to a lot of Muslims is just a rock, if this rock starts speaking and tells you who the Imam is, then there should be no doubt about who the Imam is. There should be no doubt. Hajj came, both of them, they're in front of the rock, they're in front of Hajar al-Aswad. Muhammad Hanafiya, he asks, "Oh my nephew, do you want to go first or should I go first?" Imam Zain al-Abidin, he says, "Oh my uncle, you go first." He asks Hajar al-Aswad, "Am I the rightful Imam?" No voice, nothing. Nothing. Then he asks him, "Oh my nephew, remember this is Hajj. Hajis are all around. Oh my nephew, you ask." Imam, he asks, "Oh Hajar al-Aswad, tell everyone who the rightful Imam is. Tell everyone who the rightful Imam is." That's when Hajar al-Aswad, it itself speaks and it says that Zainul Abidin has more of a right to be Imam than Muhammad Hanafiya. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa alihi. Ali Zainul Abidin has more right to be Imam than Muhammad Hanafiya. What is one of the signs of an Imam? One of the signs, Mujizat, thank you so much. One of the signs of an Imam is miracles. This itself was a miracle. Not just a miracle, but also a testimony by that rock that will testify on the Day of Judgment. This was Imam Zain al-Abidin. Imam Zain al-Abidin, if we look at his life, there was a man who was coming from Iran. And he hadn't left yet. He hadn't left yet. And this man was a Shia of the Imams, a true believer of the Imams. And every time he would come to meet the Imam, he would always bring gifts for the Imams. When he was preparing and he was getting ready to come, This man, he prepares the gifts for the Imam. That's when his wife, she asks him, you always take him gifts, but he never gives you anything. He never gives you anything. Why is that? And the man, he says, look, don't say that, he'll hear you. Where are they? In Iran. Where's Imam Zain al-Abidin? Medina. The man, he says, don't say that, he'll hear you. She says, how will he hear me? How will he hear me? The man, he packs up, he takes the gifts and he goes to the Imam. When he gets to the Imam's door, the narration, it says that the Imam was having dinner. While he was having dinner, he invites the gentleman in and he says to him, can I wash your hands? The Imam says to the gentleman, can I wash your hands? The man, he says, Yabna Rasulullah, no, this can't be. Let me wash your hands. Let me wash your hands. Imam, he says, okay. At that time period, there was no bathroom and sink where they're going and washing their hands. Just like in some parts of the world today, what do they bring? They'll bring a bowl and a jug of water and they'll pour it in the jug while someone is washing their hands. That's what they were doing back then. When the Imam, he gives them permission to wash his hands, the man is pouring the water. The Imam, he tells this man, do you know what's in this bowl? The man, he just says, Yabna Rasulullah, it's just water. It's just water. He doesn't see, but the Imam, he's covering. But he just says, Yabna Rasulullah, it's water. He keeps pouring. Imam, he asks again, do you know what's in this bowl? Yabna Rasulullah, it's water. I'm washing your hands. It's just water. He keeps washing it. When Imam, he finishes, the man, he sees that water, all of those droplets that fell into that bowl, they've turned into jewels. They've turned into jewels. When the man sees that those droplets have turned into jewels, the Imam, he tells this man, give these as a gift to your wife so she'll stop complaining. Give these as a gift to your wife so she'll stop complaining. This is Imam Zain al-Abidin. The karam of Imam Zain al-Abidin. This is what it means to be an Imam. That you show that you are representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see that these incidents did not just happen one time or two times in the life of Imam Zain al-Abidin. No, they happened many times in his lifetime. So many people would come. Narrations state that he would cure the blind. He would cure the leper. He'd cure people that were born mentally challenged. He'd cure those types of people. He'd speak to the animals. Just like all of his other forefathers and all of his other children in the line of Imamat. Zainul Abidin. When you look at this individual, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Waqimus salat, watu zakat, warka'u ma raki'in. Keep up prayers, give zakat, and be with those who do ruku. Who do ruku. If you want to look at Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam and his ibadat, the narrations, they state that no other individual ever did ibadat the way Imam Zain al-Abidin did. No other individual. To the point where some narrations, they say that in the garden of Imam Zain al-Abidin there were 1,000 trees. 1,000 trees. He would do 2 rakat sajda shukr for every tree that is there. Every tree that is there. The way that he would do ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would have calluses in every place that would be in sajda. Calluses in every place that would be touching the ground. That would be touching the ground. When he would stand for prayers, the narrations, they state that the people that would be with him, they say that nothing of his moved. No body part of his moved when he would stand for prayers. The only thing that would move was maybe his abba. That was it. That was it. Yet we take him to be imam. But when we stand for prayers, what are we doing? We're not thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not thinking about prayers. When we stand for prayers, what are we doing? Scratching our head. What are we doing? Picking our nose, looking for jewels in our nose. This is the way a lot of us pray without paying attention. When you look at the way the Imams prayed and you compare it to the way that you're praying, yes, you might say, you know what, they're the Imams, they have complete concentration. We're not Imams. No, you don't need to be Imam to know the adab of prayer. You don't need to be the Imam to know how to pray. Look at what they did, how they prayed. The ulama, a lot of people have this question, you know what, how do I keep my concentration in prayer? How do I keep my concentration in prayer? The ulama, they say, look, it's going to take you time to completely have concentration in prayer. You can't just all of a sudden concentrate in prayer. Why? Because throughout your life you trained yourself not to concentrate in prayer. Now you want to switch it all of a sudden and think, oh, you know what, I should be able to concentrate. No, it's going to take you time to concentrate in prayer. So how do you do it? The ulama, they say, look, at the very least, when you say that first takbiratul ihram, completely concentrate on that takbiratul ihram. Even if you're not concentrated in the rest of your prayer, concentrate on that takbir. The second time, then concentrate on the takbir and then the Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The third time, the first part of Surah Al-Hamd. Meaning what? Meaning take it step by step. When you take it step by step, then there'll come a time when you are completely concentrating on your prayers. There'll come a time when you completely concentrate on your prayers. But if from the beginning we don't have an intention of concentrating on our prayers, then how are we going to concentrate? Where the Imams, they say that when you go for your wuzu, you should already be thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you go for your wuzu, you should already be thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet when we go for our wuzu, we don't even know if we've done it completely correct, but we have to pray, so we'll go and pray. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. There's another question that arises regarding Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, whether or not Imam Zainul Abidin was the eldest son or Ali al-Akbar was the eldest son. And this will continue to go on, where some ulama, they've written books saying that no, Ali al-Akbar was the eldest son. Some have written saying that Imam Zainul Abidin is the eldest son. If you do enough research, you find out that no, Ali al-Akbar was the eldest son. Imam Zainul Abidin was the middle one, Ali al-Asghar is the youngest one. Why? Because from the titles itself you understand. Imam Hussain alayhi salam, one of the children was named Ali al-Akbar, the second was Ali al-Awsat, the third one Ali al-Asghar. Meaning what? Ali the elder, Ali the middle, and Ali the youngest. Ali the youngest. The reason that some people think that no, Imam Zainul Abidin was the oldest is because there was a time in Shia history where Shias, they believe that imamat would only go to the eldest son. Shias believe that imamat only and only goes to the eldest son, where in reality imamat has nothing to do with the eldest or the youngest. Imamat is a lutuf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can give it to the eldest, He can give it to the middle, He can give it to the youngest. It doesn't matter. But people, what happens, they get completely engrossed in this idea, who was the eldest? Who was the... To be honest, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. Even in the confines of Karbala, it doesn't matter. Who the eldest, if Ali al-Akbar was older or Imam Zainul Abidin was older. But when it comes to Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, one of his sons also became famous. Who is that? Zayd, thank you so much. MashaAllah, some people, they actually read and pay attention. The Zaydi, anyone that is named Zaydi, they come from the line of Zayd al-Shaheed. They come from the line of Zayd al-Shaheed. And there were Shias that ended up taking Zayd as Imam. There were Shias that ended up taking Zayd as Imam. Even today, the Zaydis, not the family name Zaydi, the Zaydi school of thought that exists, for example, predominantly in Yemen, they believe that he was an Imam. that he was an Imam. So you see that in Shia history, Shias have completely split. Meaning there was always a time when Shias would say, you know what, this is the Imam. And you have a whole line. Some people stopped at Imam Muhammad Baqir, Imam Jafar Sadiq, Imam Musa Kazim, Imam Ali. There are people, Shias, that stopped at all of these Imams. So that's why you have so many branches in the Shia school of thought. You have so many branches in the Shia school of thought. When it comes to Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, the first individual to go to Karbala after the events of Karbala was who? Do you all know? The first individual to reach Karbala after the events of Karbala. Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari. Thank you so much. Jabir was the first. And Jabir was that personality whom the Holy Prophet had said, Jabir, you're going to see my grandson, and when you see his son, Muhammad, send him my salam. Send him my salam. Look at the status of Jabir. The events of Karbala happened. The status of Jabir in the eyes of Allah. So if the narration is true that Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari was the first individual to go to get to Karbala and do the ziyarat of Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam. If the narration is true, Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari, he is blind. He's blind. The first individual to go to do ziyarat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam is a blind individual. Is a blind individual. There were so many Shias that have sight. There were so many Shias that knew what happened to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Yet the first individual to go and do the ziyarat of Imam Hussain alayhi salam is Jabir, a blind man. So what does this tell you? This tells you that Ma'rifat of the Imam is not through these eyes. Visitation of the Imam is not just through these eyes. Visitation of the Imam is through the heart. It's this heart that will illuminate you and let you know that yes, the Imam is in front of you. If your heart is illuminated. Whereas Jabir, he can't see. Physically he can't see. Yet he knows that Imam Hussain alayhi salam is resting in this area. And he's doing his ziyarat. Salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And it's this same Jabir who says that when I was sitting with Rasulullah, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, he was on the Holy Prophet's lap. And while Imam Hussain alayhi salam and the Holy Prophet were playing, the Holy Prophet, he looks at Jabir and he says, Jabir, a son will be born to him, meaning Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam, and his name will be Ali. His name will be Ali. A caller will call on the day of judgment, saying what? Let Sayyidus Sajideen stand up. Where is Sayyidus Sajideen? What does it tell you about Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam when on the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will separate him from the rest of the Imams and he'll ask, where is Sayyidus Sajideen? Where is Sayyidus Sajideen? Where is Zainul Abidin? This is the status of Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, he'll call out, where is Sayyidus Sajideen? When it comes to Imam Zainul Abidin's worship, a companion Imam Zainul Abidin, he himself, he says that the way he worshipped, I never saw anyone worship like that except for his forefathers. Except for his forefathers. Look at the way he worships, look at the way you and I worship. Look at the way Imam Zainul Abidin, he looks after his parents, look at the way some of us look after our parents. After Imam Hussain was shaheed, whatever, if Imam Hussain alayhi salam had left something that was to be given, Imam Zainul Abidin was the wali. Imam Zainul Abidin was the wasi. He made sure that it was given. He made sure that it was given. You see what happens today, where if the parents pass away, the children are fighting over who gets the house. The children are fighting over who gets the car. The society that we live in, you all see what happens. And it starts to creep within Islam. And slowly it starts to creep within Shia Islam also, where they don't care. To the point where there was a burial that was happening. Shia family. When it came to the burial, the father passes away here in the States. The son, he's in Canada. That's our lifetime, and they were telling me about this. The father passes away in the States. The son is in Canada. The community that the father used to be with, they find out the son is in Canada. They let him know, your father has passed away. He goes, look, I can't come there right now. I can't come there right now. What do you want us to do? You all take care of the burial. Okay, we'll take care of the burial. How much will it cost? It's going to cost $5,000. I'm not saying it's this community. Please do not think that it's this community. No, alhamdulillah, this community has an alim who's taught you something, alhamdulillah. But it's $5,000. He goes, okay, you know what? Let me call you back. Let me call you back. He calls the morgue and he asks them, how much will it cost to cremate a body? Shia. How much will it cost to cremate a body? $250, $300. $300? Okay. He calls back the community and says, no, I want the body cremated. I don't want you to do anything. Who wants children like that? When you read the du'as of Imam Zainul Abidin in Sayf-e Sajjadiyah, there's a whole du'a for kids. There's a du'a for kids. Imam Zainul Abidin in those du'as, he says what? He says that the kids, the youngsters, the kids, they're supposed to act as the arms of the father when the father gets older. When the father gets older. They're supposed to look after the parents. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You have Imam Zainul Abidin, who would not even eat from the same plate as his mother because he was afraid that she might pick up the same morsel of food that he was going to pick up. He was afraid that she might pick up the same morsel of food that he was going to pick up. And you have Shias today who won't even sit at the same table as their parents because they're too busy with their life. They're too busy with their life. You have Shias today that will not even talk to their parents because of something that happened 20 years ago, for example. Something that happened 15 years ago. This is the reality that you and I live in because of the society that you and I live in. And it starts to creep within the communities. So it becomes necessary for us to what? To counteract this. To counteract this. If you want to teach your kids how to be good kids, pick up Sayf-e Sajjadiyah and read it with them. Read those du'as. None of us do that. We barely even pick up the Quran and read the Quran with our kids, let alone read Sayf-e Sajjadiyah. And then we say, you know what? Why did my kid come off the path of Muhammad wa ala Muhammad? He came off, why? Because you never took the time to keep them on that path. You never took the time to keep them on that path. When you look at Imam Zainul Abidin's life, the first time that he actually smiled after the events of Karbala, the narrations, they say it took about 4 or 5 years after the events of Karbala for Imam Zainul Abidin to smile for the first time. And when was that? when the heads of some of the commanders who had taken Abu Abdullah Hussein's life, when their heads had come from Mukhtar. Imam Zain al-Abidin, in the same book, Madinatul Ma'ajiz, there's a whole 2 pages, 1.5, 2 pages about Imam Zain al-Abidin, how he used to curse Ibn Ziyad, how he used to curse Hurmala, how he used to curse Shimad, how he used to curse them. Not just them, but also their forefathers. You have all these du'as, you have ziyarats. Ziyarat Ashura. In that ziyarat, what are you doing? You're cursing the enemies. And there's some enemies whose names have been taken in that ziyarat. There's some enemies whose names have been taken. There's some enemies whose names have been hidden. Now you have Shias who do not even want us to recite those names that have been taken. Why? I do what the Imam has done. I don't do what you tell me to do. Imam Zainul Abidin al-Islam. People say, you know what? Shia's lives are in danger. Shia's lives are in danger. Shia's lives are in danger. Your life can be in danger. The time period that Imam Zainul Abidin al-Islam lived in and he was cursing the enemies of Al Ziyad was more dangerous than the time period that you and I are living in. Why? Because the time period that he was living in, the individuals that he was cursing, they were in power. They were in power. The place that you and I are living in, we have freedom to say what we want. And individuals are saying, no, you know what, we shouldn't do this. To appease those individuals who side with Banu Umayyah. When you read a lot of the ziyarats, what do you say? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse those individuals that killed the Ahlul Bayt and those individuals that are happy about what happened. Not just that, but in some of those ziyarats, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His lanat on those individuals that heard about it and stayed quiet. That heard about it and stayed quiet. You see that this la'an, it starts from Amir al-Mu'mineen, where he starts cursing the enemies of Islam. Imam Hassan al-Islam does the same thing. Imam Zain al-Abidin does the same thing. So in the line of the 14 Masumeen, there wasn't any one individual who did not send lanat on the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt. There wasn't any individual. So that means that sending lanat on the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt is the sunnat of the Masumeen. It's the sunnat of the Masumeen. So why should I not send lanat on the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt? Taking the names of those individuals whose names have been taken. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam Zain al-Abidin, and this is where I'm going to end my lecture with. Imam Zain al-Abidin, he says, oh my son, be aware of 5 types of people. Be aware of 5 types of people and do not make friends with them. Do not talk to them and do not even walk with them. Be aware of 5 types of individuals. Do not make friends with them. Do not talk with them and do not even walk with them. His son asks, oh father, who are these people? He says, the first person is a liar. The first type of person is a liar. Why? Because he's like a mirage, making you feel that distant things are near and near things are far away. The first person to avoid is a liar. He goes on to say that, oh my son, be careful of making friends with a sinner. Be careful of making friends with a sinner because he will sell you for a meal or less than a meal. Someone who sins, someone who habitually sins. Meaning what? He doesn't care about the rules, the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he doesn't care about the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you think he's going to care about the laws of this world? No, he'll sell you. When the time comes, he'll sell you for a meal or something less than a meal. He goes, the third, be aware of making friends with the miser. Why? Because he would desert you because of his money when you are in need of him. Do not sit with him, do not talk to him, do not walk with him. 4, guard yourself against a fool, because even though they may intend to benefit you, but they end up harming you. They end up harming you. I know no one likes to be called a fool. No one likes to be called a fool. But if you want to know who the fools are, all you have to do is think about those individuals that try to help you, but at the end, it wasn't helpful to you. It was detrimental. Know that those people, not just once, but continue. Some people, they get fooled once. They don't learn their mistake. They don't learn their mistake. They go and get fooled again. In that instant, who's the real fool then? That individual who keeps going back and getting fooled. But Imam, he says, guard yourself against a fool. Why? Because their intention is to help you, but the outcome is the opposite. The outcome is opposite. He goes, the 5th is be cautious of making friends with the one who abandons his blood relations. Be cautious of making friends with that individual who abandons or who stops doing sila rahim, who does qat'i rahim. Qat'i rahim. Why? Because Imam, he says that I have found that individual to be cursed in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have found that individual to be cursed in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the way the Imam is advising our kids. Or this is the way the Imam is advising his kids. The way Imam is advising his kids. What is he focused on? Something that will benefit the people, something that will benefit his kids in this world and the next world. But when we advise our kids, do we give this type of advice that will be beneficial for them for this world and the next world? No. We usually get to give them advice that will be beneficial for them in this world. And that too, that advice that might be just beneficial momentarily. Momentarily, that's it. We don't think about the afterworld. We don't think about the afterlife. When you give someone advice, keep that in mind that this world isn't the end. No, there's another world that is to come. And make sure that the person that you're giving advice to will also benefit in that time. Not just this time. And the most lovable thing that the Imam he did was give charity in secret. Sadaqah. Sadaqah. Whenever he would give charity, it would be in secret. And when some of us give charity, you see it when you give charity, for example, to the center. You want your name plastered everywhere. I gave this much. You want to be the first person. This is just something that people do. But Imam, when he would give, no, in secret. He wouldn't even remind the individual that, do you remember that time that I gave you this? He wouldn't even remind, he wouldn't remind. But you and I, when we give, what do? 5 years later, do you remember that time that I did this favor for you? Do you remember this time that I gave you that money? This isn't the akhlaq of the Ahlul Bayt, but for some reason this has creeped in to us. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He keeps us on the path of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives our sins. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He forgives the sins of all of those marhumin, mu'mineen, mu'minat that do not have anyone to ask for forgiveness on their behalf. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Please, brothers and sisters, recite Surah Fatiha for your marhumin, for the marhumin whose names are on the wall in the back, for those mu'mineen, mu'minat, marhumin who do not have anyone to pray on their behalf, and for the marhumin of whoever sponsored tonight's lecture. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اغفرهم وارحمهم واسكنهم بجوار محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Please, brothers and sisters, there's so many people that are ill that have asked for dua 5 times. Everyone together, please recite Ayatul Karima for their shafa. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. عما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 صلى على محمد وآل محمد. Inshallah, from now on, it's just going to be regular Thursday night programs until the 15th of Shabaan. Whenever the 15th of Shabaan is, we will have, I'm going to let everyone know right now, there will be Amal for the 15th of Shabaan. There will be Amal for the 15th of Shabaan. And when are we going to start? Next Thursday? Following Thursday, correct? Inshallah. And the time will be? Starts with Namaz Maghribain? You sure? No, it's a Thursday. Theek hai. Not this Thursday. Inshallah, I'll make the announcement on Thursday, I guess. But this Thursday, inshallah, is just going to be regular Thursday night program. And it will start regular time, 8 o'clock. It will start 8 o'clock, and I'm here. I start on time, I end on time. It doesn't matter to me if there's one person sitting in front of me or 1,000 people. Everyone knows that. 8 o'clock on time. And anyone that wants to recite, they're more than welcome to come here at 8 o'clock on time and recite. Theek na? Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad.
السلام عليك يا خير خلق الله في الأولين والآخرين. السلام عليك يا سيد المرسلين. السلام عليك يا خاتم النبيين. السلام عليك الذي دنا فتدلى فكان قاب قوسين أو أدنى. السلام عليك يا حبيبنا وحبيب إله رب العالمين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي أمير المؤمنين وسي رسول رب العالمين. السلام عليك يا آية الله الكبرى ونبأ العظيم. السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. السلام عليك يا صديقة الطاهرة. السلام عليك يا سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي حسن بن علي أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت بقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الآخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وجميع شهداء كربلاء وأسيران كربلاء ومختلف الملائكة ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن الحسين سيد الساجدين يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي أيها الباقر يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا جعفر بن محمد أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي موسى بن جعفر أيها القادم يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن محمد أيها النقي الحادي يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي حسن بن علي أيها العسكري يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في العالمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان يا كامل الكفر والطغيان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك وجن الله من أنصارك وأعوانك ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توا ودمته فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
इसको भी लेके आया